Today I'm going to share with you yet another idea to potentially help you out with your SI joint pain. What's up everybody, it's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to be addressing the SI joint, which is located right here at the back of your pelvis, okay? First and foremost, I already made a video about this a long time ago. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out over here. I'll also put a link in the description down below. In that video, I addressed SI joint pain and dysfunction with a couple exercises. Today, I'm going to address pain in the SI joint region again. This time, we're going to address something called tissue stress. So in Shirley Sarman's book, Diagnosis and Treatment of Movement Impairment Syndromes, which is on my recommended reading list, if you haven't seen that, check that video out in the link in the description down below. But in her book, she says that extensive information is available from practitioners who ascribe to dysfunction of the SI joint as a common cause of back pain. However, this text does not support this premise. Although many individuals have pain in the SI region, this text proposes that pain does not arise from motion of the joint. Rather, pain in the SI joint region is a result of stress of the tissues that attach in this area. So in short, she is saying that the common idea of SI joint instability as the cause of SI joint pain is not necessarily true. What she is saying is that most pain in the SI region is caused by tight muscles and connective tissue that attach in that area. She later goes on to talk about the range of motion of the SI joint, and or I should say lack thereof, and the fact that the SI joint is something called ankleized in most individuals over 50, meaning that it's basically fused. It's basically immobile. So since the SI joint is naturally so stiff, there is no room for instability because there's not much motion that can occur there in the first place. She also mentions that the only exception to this rule is pregnant women because they have a hormonal release that causes their hips to kind of dilate so they can give birth. But if you're not a hormonal pregnant woman, then you probably don't have an SI joint dysfunction or instability according to her. Okay, so what can we do with this information? What does this mean? Well, one thing we can do with this information is look at all of the big muscles and all of the connective tissue around the SI region. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to focus on releasing the thoracolumnar fascia right up here, the lumbar erectors in your low back here, quadratus lumborum, and the gluteals. If these tissues are tight, they may be contributing to tissue stress in that area, and that could be the cause of your SI joint pain. What you're going to need for this is either a lacrosse ball, foam roller, or softball. This is a supernova, but it's pretty much the same size as a softball. Let's get started with the glutes. So we're really going to be non-discriminatory here, meaning that we're not really going to go for any muscle in particular. Rather, we're just going to smash right into the butt, basically, okay? The entire, gluteal muscle group here, okay? You're going to take your ball, you're basically just going to put it on the ground. You're going to sit on it, cross the leg that's on the ball, put that ankle on top of the opposing knee, okay? And then just roll around in here. Like I said, be non-discriminatory. You're not looking for the piriformis, you're not looking for the glute minimus. You're kind of just looking for whatever areas feel tight, okay? You might want to put your leg down, come up here, spend some time right underneath the iliums, okay? I get really tight up there. Come off to the side here. Just smash around in that area and look for the tightness, okay? You want to do this on both sides. You can also do the same thing with a foam roller just by putting your butt on the foam roller, okay? A softball probably will work better though. Now we're going to move to the more central muscles of the lower back, the lumbar erectors. I made a video a while ago on foam rolling the lower back. Make sure you watch that right over here and make sure that you can do this safely before you attempt to do this. But to get those lumbar erectors, we're just going to put the foam roller down, keep the core braced, keep your spine neutral, okay? And then you're just going to spend some time in the lower back here, okay? Looking for trigger points, looking for tightness, okay? If you want to get a little bit more aggressive, and I would only recommend you do this if you're kind of a thick person, like a bodybuilder, and you have a decent amount of muscle mass. If you're somebody that's really small and you don't do deadlifts and squats, then don't even try this one. But for me, my lumbar erectors are pretty developed, so this works for me. Basically, take the ball, put it on one side of the lumbar erectors, just adjacent to the spine, okay? Kind of put your arms down like this and really let it dig in there, okay? We're getting those lumbar erectors and that thoracolumbar fascia right now, which is basically all the connective tissue where the thoracic spine meets the lumbar spine. Next, we're going to move to the quadratus lumborum, also known as the QL. So I actually made a video a while back on how to release the QL using a Theracane, and I also showed some static stretches. You might want to try that, although be leery of that static stretch because that could aggravate your SI region even more. But using a ball here, this ball is actually a little too big for a lot of you. You'll probably want to use a lacrosse ball for this, but remember that QL attaches at your 12th rib and runs down to your pelvis here, okay? So stay underneath the ribs. Be very, very, very careful of those lower ribs. If you roll onto the lower ribs with the ball, you will damage those ribs very easily, okay? So basically, just spend time on the tissues above the pelvis and below the ribs in there, okay? You're just kind of rolling around in this region, looking for tightness. The QL is kind of hard to get into, but this tissue stress is a very kind of vague term and idea. So it could be the superficial fascia, like close to the skin, that's really, really tight and contributing most of your pain. Lastly, we're going to address the lats, okay? The lats, the latissimus dorsi, actually start in here. The upper fibers are up here underneath your armpit. They actually run down this way and attach at the back of your pelvis, and for that reason it's likely that if these lats are tight, they could be contributing to that tissue stress in the SI region, which is why we're going to release them. You can either use a foam roller here or you can use a ball. Sometimes I'll use a ball just for a little bit of a more profound release because there's more of a laser-like pressure, but for right now I'm just going to demonstrate with the roller here. Basically, just outstretch your arm. I have lots of videos showing how to release the lats. You're spending time in the lats on the back side of the side of your trunk, okay, right where I am right now, okay? You're also going to want to come kind of back around like this and come on the back part of the rib cage, okay? Again, just like with the QL, you want to keep pressure off of those lower ribs, okay? You can't release the bone, you can only release tissues. You really can damage those ribs very, very easily if you go too low when you're doing this. I've seen it happen multiple times, okay? So keep that in mind while you're doing this. I want to mention that you're probably not tight in all of these muscles. Rather, there's probably like somewhere around 2 to 3 areas that are contributing most to the tissue stress. I'm going to guess the gluteals and the quadratus lumborum are 2 of the biggest players here. So because of that, use the sensations that you experience while you're rolling on these various muscles and tissues as feedback. Basically, if it feels really, really tight and painful when you're rolling on it, then that tissue and that muscle is probably very tight. If you're foam rolling your lats and it doesn't really feel like anything, then you're probably not tight there. On a concluding note here, take everything with a grain of salt, okay? The field of fitness and corrective exercise and physical therapy is kind of like economics, as they say. No economist ever agrees with another economist or something like that, okay? Basically, there's a lot of contradicting opinions from different professionals. So kind of just take all this information in, apply it to yourself, test it out, and if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, move on and try to find some other information that might be more valuable. It's just very important to keep an open mind in regards to pretty much everything so that you can really put it to the test and find out whether or not it's worth giving merit to. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that right over here. Also, follow me on Instagram and like me on Facebook. I'll include links to both of those things in the description down below. Lastly, I'm looking for more questions to answer, so shoot me your questions in the comment area down below, and I will either answer with a comment or a video response. Other than that, I'll see you next time.